Oh, hi. Lynn's here. What's up, Lynn? Oh, Cait will be here in a minute. She's having some audio difficulties, but yeah. Who else is here? We got Lynn. Anyone else from the usual crew, or better yet, message your scores up here. Let's see what your 25.2 looked like before we start talking about some of the other athletes. But Cait should be here any moment. I did get a chance to talk to Mirjam Von Rohr. We'll talk about that conversation. She doesn't speak very good English, or she's not very confident in her English, so she sent me a bunch of answers to questions I asked her. So just really cool. I've talked to her a couple times at some of the international competitions, and she's right. She does. She's just not very confident in her English. I think in her words, she says like if she doesn't understand a word, it it makes it difficult for her to understand everything else in the sentence because she's thinking about how to define that word. Doing good. It's a Tuesday. I wish it was a Friday, but we're getting there, one day at a time. Nice to catch you. Well, thank you, Lido. Lido, where are you from, Lido? I know you seem to be like one of our newer guests, newer in the comments. Really appreciate that, and you seem very knowledgeable, so that's really good. I mean, everyone here is very knowledgeable, so sometimes sometimes I think you're just a lot more knowledgeable than me, and just not in CrossFit. Just think in general. Greece. Oh, Greece. Okay, but live in the UK. All right. T Bird is here. Afternoon. It's evening for me. It's 7 o'clock. I'm sure scores. Oh, you just go one say I just spent the same. Hmm.
Can you hear me now?
All right, Cait. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Say something.
I am. I'm talking.
Nothing. Looks like she's switching to her phone. Hello, Sarah. How you doing? So you guys can hear Cait. I just can't. Interesting. Okay. That's very interesting. But you guys can hear me, but I can't hear Cait. All right. Wonder why that is. Unless I had her muted. No. Let me message her. No, Brian is not joining us. We decided to be just me and Cait to kind of do these like recaps of the leaderboards. Um, Brian hasn't been really following much with the Open. Um, he's been participating with his at his new affiliate in Wisconsin. Here we go. All right, I think I just had you muted.
You guys can hear me?
Yes, everyone can hear you now.
Okay. It's stressful.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was on me. I think I had my laptop muted, so that's why I couldn't hear you because you were just muted.
I was like, I know it's working because I can see it's working. Anyway.
Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily mean it works,
Yes.
Oh, yeah. So, welcome back, Cait. You made it to your second one.
I made it.
You made it. Did you do any research? Did you study?
I did. I did some more research. I'm excited this week. I did. I have a few notes.
A few notes, just a few notes.
Few
I
notes.
only have like one note, but I have a bunch of like comments from Mirjam. I was talking to her before we went on air. I invited her on to be a guest, and she just wasn't. She's not confident in her English enough to come on. which is fine. Totally understand. I actually think she speaks really good English, but it's just a confidence issue.
Yeah.
The reason why we're here to talk about 25.2. So you did the workout. What'd you think, Cait?
I know last week I said I was dreading the gymnastics workout, and it came sooner than what I thought it was going to. I was really hoping it was going to be this last week, but it wasn't bad. It reminded me a lot of 24.3, just a little bit different. I did not finish. I'm horrible at gymnastics, but it was okay. It wasn't bad. I have no complaints. So
it reminded you? Did it remind you of 22.3?
It also reminded me of 22.3. I can't remember if I did it or not back then. If I did, I think I just scaled to like all pull-ups or something. But I like thrusters and I like double unders, so I can't complain.
Yeah, Lynn said for the first time, gymnastics and thrusters in week 2. Those are usually movements set for the final week, or because as you progress, they get you with that first one where everyone can do the workout, and then they just start slowly chipping away at the leaderboard. First initial, that's the workout. Generally, you did it in an affiliate. How did everyone feel in the affiliate for doing it? Did you have a lot of first timers doing it, or some people that repeated?
Maybe a few people that repeated. Everybody, I just saw somebody in the comments that nobody likes thrusters. That was the general consensus at the affiliate, is everybody hates thrusters and not super excited to do them. But, I think doing things that we don't like to do sometimes makes us a little proud at the end. So everybody had a really good time. But, there's a lot of groans at first because thrusters, for most people, nobody likes. So.
Yeah. But, there's been 2 movements that's been in every single Open. It's been thrusters and double unders, and we got both of those in the same week. I don't know. I feel like, I don't know, maybe it's because the Open's now 3 weeks, or basically 3 workouts, but I almost feel like, and I don't mean to be super critical on programming or anything like that, because I'm probably the last person to be criticizing programming, but it just feels like, we had the first workout, 25.1, and it was very similar to 24.1. Very similar. And then you had the repeat workout, which is fine. I'm all for repeat workouts because, how often do you get to do a repeat workout when you are a part of an affiliate? Usually it's just like a max lift, but in terms of we're doing the workouts, maybe once a year it might pop up. I know, like at my gym, we do a lot of birthday WODs. So those are always ones that pop up repeatedly, and then some hero WODs.
Yep.
But in terms of regular Open workouts, those very rarely are programmed in. They are maybe some variation, unless you're following CAP or some type of main site. But I think if you're dealing with like Mayhem or any other group program or program yourself, you probably don't program some of those Open workouts. Probably more of the the ladies or the hero workouts and stuff like that. But it just feels like, I don't know. I like the workouts in terms of the Open, but I just haven't been impressed with just the creativity that's gone into it, maybe. Because it seems like there's maybe a lack of creativity, it pains me to say that because Dave is one of the most creative people I know. But I think maybe at some point you hit a pinnacle, or, you just, I don't know.
I do think they seem very similar to last year. Even the gymnastics workout, the structure was obviously different, but same kind of thing. It was thrusters and gymnastics progression. And there hasn't been one, and I think I said this last week too, that I look at and I'm like, oh, that sounds absolutely awful. I don't want to do it, which is kind of it creates a lot of anticipation around it. And the ones that have been released so far this Open, I'm just kind of like, oh, okay. I could feel kind of indifferent. Like, it's just another workout. It's not anything that I'm chomping at the bits to do or really anxious to do them.
Lynn said, which is crazy on creativity because it seems anyone in the sport can guess which workout movements are coming. Yeah, I think seems like, obviously this was the easiest clue ever, but even then it's predictable because we always feel like there's going to be a repeat workout It hasn't happened in every open, but it's almost par for the course. But then obviously the whole thrusters and double-unders, and I get that, and I truly believe those movements should be in the open because those are such fundamental movements when it comes to CrossFit and the open and the competitive side of it. I just wish I do like the 3-week format, but I do wish that there was like another workout, like maybe program 2. I
Yeah.
mean, maybe the same week where maybe you do one on Thursday, like a quick one. I don't know. It could be like a really quick workout to test the capacity, like, and then you do another workout on Saturday. Doesn't have to be like an A or B,
Okay.
or you extend it last week till a Wednesday where you have to turn in your scores or something like that. I don't know. I just
like 5 weeks. I know that it's sometimes a pain point for the affiliates because it seems like forever to get done, but I really liked it. 3 weeks seems super short. I can't believe it's already almost over. So I kind of like the 5 weeks still, and it gives you a little bit more time to broaden the programming a little bit, a max lift. And I know sometimes that's a little controversial as well, whether that should be in the tests or not, but gives athletes a chance to showcase. And that's like the best part of Friday Night Lights is when you're having people throw down and lift a heavy barbell and everybody's screaming. I think that part is really cool, even in a regular competition, not just the open. So
yeah, Sarah brings up a good point, but you can only be so creative when programmed for 100K people too. Fair enough.
And equipment, you're definitely limited by equipment because not everybody has, enough ski ergs or echo bikes or whatever they might be. So
true. But at this point, I think everyone has enough rowers, and ever since 2017, everyone has dumbbells now. So, so Lynn, before we move on, talk about 25.2. Let's go. Actually, let's wait. We'll wait and talk about what we think 25.3 is. Obviously, there's lots of speculation on that. But you said you did some homework. So, looking at it from an athlete standpoint, were you impressed by anything? What stood out when you look at that leaderboard initially?
Not surprised to see the first place for the men and the women. So Colten obviously was in first again this week. And I watched his video, and he made it look so easy. So easy.
He did.
I love that it had no audio, so you could hear him breathing hard. So you knew he was working, but I mean, made it look pretty effortless. And then going back to how similar like the tests are from last year, he did really well, I think, in the gymnastics workout last year as well. I just lost all my stuff that I had pulled up when I restarted my computer, but no surprise to see him again at the top of the leaderboard. And I love that he put his video up.
Yeah, I believe he did it twice. I think his first time, from what I hear from Vindicate and some other people, he actually had a time of 4:08, which still would have won him the workout and set the record and everything. But I guess he was hearing rumblings about other people redoing it. I think he heard something about Austin Hatfield possibly redoing it again, and possibly some other people here in North America that he redid it again. I think like an hour before it was due, and he finished in 4:01. So just barely missed out on getting under 4 minutes, which I think is impressive. And watching that workout, just he was so deliberate. You can tell. I mean, that small space, it was all within like 3 feet. Most people aren't going to space. They don't trust themselves to have their rope that close to the barbell, and then just he didn't waste any movement at all.
None. He was really intentional with what he did, and somebody in the comments, Lido, said his movements were super clean too. Like great, all of them were super super clean. Really, really good reps. Like can't even. Well, I don't know. Some people probably could, but say they were bad reps. It was all around good workout for 4 minutes for him.
Yeah, he was very. I mean, that's even more impressive because he's very deliberate on that pause at the top of his thrusters. And then even him breaking the crease, his crease, hip crease below the knee, is so impressive. And I mean, just the more and more I watch him, the more impressed I am. And it's just like it's a shame that someone like him didn't make the games last year. Um, he does have certain, I guess I won't even call him holes, certain things that he's just, not the best at. But when it comes to like pure CrossFit, I think this guy is just unbelievable.
He's a
And
monster.
yeah, it's just great. And I mean, and we know he's strong. I mean, we saw him touch and go, in the squat clean ladder last year. And he's just very impressive. And I think right now he's riding this high where he has this confidence that anytime he goes out in that competition floor, whether it's against himself or against a group of people, that he's going to win or he's going to go down fighting. Um, and it's just great to see this. Yeah, it's just really cool to see. Um,
Let's see.
so Colin Bossard, we'll talk about Switzerland here later, but Colin Bossard finishing second. Uh, well, I mean, let's look at the workout instead of not looking overall, but overall, Augustine Richelme, former games athlete, I think last competed in 2022 from Argentina. An impressive time of 4:12. He's he's built very similar to I think Jeffrey Adler. He's not short. He's just built. I think he's probably 5'9", 5'10". Followed by Austin Hatfield at 4:16. Don't know much about Chase Peck. I've heard the name before. I just don't know much about him. I think he's a former teen athlete. Yeah, he's 21 years old. 4:18, and then Colin Bossard at 4:19, followed by Jeffrey Adler, who tied with William Rios, also from Argentina. I wonder, yeah. And then Georgos Karavis, who did not enter a score for 25.1 because his wife, his partner, was having a baby at the time, so
I
he
did.
missed. Yeah, he missed doing that. So if people know Georgos, he competed at Rogue this past year. He's one of the. I mean, Lito knows. I mean, being from Greece, he's one of the fittest men in the world. Um, he's built very similar to kind of Colten. He's kind of a shorter, stocky athlete. Um, so good on him for still doing the workouts. Right now it's going to be hard for him to hit that cut line because in order to make the semifinals, you have to hit the 10% of the open. I believe the cut line for the men is around 1,200, and he's at 53,000 right now. So he would have to score really well in that last workout or have some people not enter scores for him to make that cut line.
Mhm.
So doesn't look like the games are going to be in his future this year. However, congratulations, he has a child in his future right now. So congrats and best of luck to him. Cale Lehman, I talked about him a little bit last week. Army infantry soldier, officer actually. I think he's currently going through officer school right now to be an infantry officer. Uh, Out of Vermont, he trains when he's at home from Vermont. He usually trains at HWPO headquarters up there. He finishes ninth, very impressive. And then Peter Ellis from Australia, or actually, is he from Australia or New Zealand? He's from Australia at 10th at 4:31. And then followed by Dallin Pepper, Will Bennett, and then Spencer Panchek, Fabian Benito, Andre Fedotov, Jay Crouch, kind of rounding out the top 20. Any names there that you're kind of surprised seeing in the top 20?
All the people that I'm like fairly familiar with, I'm not surprised. I was really impressed at how well a few of the top athletes have done now that we did kind of like an endurance type workout, something to test your cardio. Now we have gymnastics, like Austin Hatfield got third this week and he got eighth last week. And I know a lot of people are talking about him right now, but proving to be super consistent. Same with Colten. Obviously, he won both workouts the past 2 weeks. And even Dallin, he got 11th and then third last week. So all of those athletes are still staying at the top of the leaderboard. We're not seeing like a huge difference between the two workouts. And I think that's impressive that they're showing that they can be consistent no matter what it is.
Yeah, I really before I think on Saturday I posted like 6 athletes to watch for this workout. I had Colton, I had Austin Hatfield. Um, I think I had Adler on there, and then also I'm trying to think who else I had on there. Jay Crouch and Ricky. Um, a lot of people call me, crazy for putting Jay so high, but I mean, finished 21st at 437. I think just version of Jay we're seeing right now. We've talked about this on our other show when we talked about the World Fitness Project. I think Jay right now is just really, really fit, and I think him and Ricky, Jay's really kind of leaned into that proven training. Being coached by Shane, and then also being able to train with someone like Maddie Sturt, who his partner, who's on the come up again, and then also having Tia there to kind of bounce ideas off of. I think we're going to see a really really fit Jay Crouch this year, um, that we haven't seen before. Yonakoski, I talked to him prior. He was one of the other athletes I had in the six. He traditionally did well. I think he was top 10 last year. He's still sick. I talked to him. He's like, yeah, unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be able to do better than last year. Just been sick. There's a flu bug going around Europe right now, and he's been kind of down and out the last couple weeks. That kind of explains the score in the first workout.
I know.
1,287 reps. I think he just gotten back from Germany on a trip, and then he said he got ill. So Justin Medeiros finishing 29th. He didn't beat his score from previous, but still impressive. I mean, overall he's in 10th place. I believe James Spray was the loser of their group bet for 25.2. I forgot what the penalty was, but Hopper at 31st, 444. That's very impressive also by him. The taller athletes, he's about 6 foot, 6'1". And then kind of going down the list, Ricky there at 38th, Harry Lightfoot, um, Jake Douglas, which is really impressive for Jake, 43rd. He's one of those, just a bigger guy. Bruno Marins, and that's kind of rounding out the top 50. When we look at the overall leaderboard, it's no surprise who's leading. It's Colton overall, 2 points, 1 point each for each victory. And Colin Bosshard 5 points behind, followed by Adler, Hatfield, and Pepper. I'm going top 5. I think all those guys in the top 5 have a chance of catching Colton. I mean, we don't know what 25.3 is, but I think what the general consensus is, it'll probably be a workout where Colton probably won't win. If he does win, that'd be unbelievable. But if it's rumored what we think it is, he'll have a top time. But I think some of these guys in the top 5 will might be better at some of those movements. And I'm looking specifically at Adler and Dallin Pepper.
Agreed. Definitely agree.
Yeah. Because if there's a workout, I mean, we're hearing rower. Dallin Pepper's probably one of the best in the world when it comes to machines. Adler's really good at machines as well. I think they'll put some distance there. Will it be enough to catch Colton? Who knows? It depends on how well Colton does. I was really impressed last year when Colton went head to head with Justin Medeiros, who Justin's probably one of the better rowers, and kind of stood with him for the length of that workout. I believe it was 24 points, right?
24.2, yeah. Rowing and double unders and deadlifts, I think.
Yeah.
I was thinking about, like, given the speculation on what this next workout is going to be, who my pick would probably be, and I do think Dallin would do pretty well at that. His abilities, I think, would fit really well with that workout. So just on the speculation, I'm thinking maybe he would finish before Colton, possibly.
Mm-hmm. But like I said, this is a different Colton. I mean, it's not lost on him that winning all 3 workouts would be quite an accomplishment. No one's done that since they've gone to the 3-week format. I think Mal O'Brien came really close one year. I think she had 2 firsts and a second. But I mean, I even if it's like on paper something that might not favor Colten, I still think that the guy's just he's driven probably more than ever right now. And just to see what he's doing and how he's doing it is just so impressive. And like I said, he's a good guy. He's dealt with a lot of adversity over the last couple of years. The passing of his mom, and now recently the passing of his dog. Dealing with the autoimmune um, disease for a little bit there. Just not just the guy just can't catch a break, but he does. You don't hear him complain.
Yep.
And that's what I.
That's
what I like.
Do you think that he feels like he has something to prove since he didn't make it last year, and this is kind of his like coming back with a vengeance kind of thing?
I think so. I mean, I think if we talked to him, he would probably say, "I feel like I have something to prove." We all know that he's one of the fittest in the world, but he has yet to prove it at the games. I mean, I believe his best finish is 18th at the games. And that's typically, you don't typically people that get 18th at the games don't get as much attention as he does, especially on the men's side.
True.
But he's he's doing all the right things. He's kind of coming to his own. It helps that comes from humble beginnings, has a great partner, a great family. He's out there in the middle of Iowa. He's from the Midwest. He's raising pigs, raising dogs. So T-Cane, I believe it's right around 1,200. I know Get With The Programming will have a show tomorrow, I believe, with Barkley Dale actually going down. He has it all figured out. So I believe it's around 1,200. Some questions about Dallin. Dallin's not 100% healthy. I don't know if you saw that. He withdrew from the Mayhem Classic, citing, a shoulder and, a shoulder injury perhaps. And then also just concentrating on on live competitions versus the Open.
I did see that he had some sort of injury. I did forget that before I said about 25.3, but I'm going to cross my fingers. I mean, obviously he's done very well so far if he does have an injury, so if he can hang in there. But I do think I'm seeing a lot of like back and forth on people deciding to step out of these like Mayhem Classic to focus on the rest of the season, or some people trying to do everything that they can. Do you have what are your thoughts about that?
It seems like there's some people that can do that, and some people that are just kind of just concentrating on other things. When we switch over to the women, like I said, I was able to talk to Mirjam, and I actually did ask her some of those questions regarding that, and she has a different take on it. I mean, everyone has different priorities and different reasons why they're doing the things they're doing. So I'm trying to go. Pardon?
She is doing a lot. Like even in the last month, she did High Rocks and Open and a powerlifting meet. We talked about her a little bit last week, I know, but she is definitely one of those people who are kind of maximizing doing whatever she can in all kinds of facets.
Yeah, and that was one of the questions I asked, and again, I'll read those messages that I got from her verbatim, and we can kind of go over that. But let's, a lot of people are bringing up like the cut line, so let's kind of take a look at the cut line here, see if there's any interesting names there that might pop out. Let me go to like around 1,200 or 1,150. Really not seeing anything right now. By all means, just because you're in this right at that cut line, that's impressive. I mean, you're still like top 10%. I have a Nick Miller at my gym, but that's not him. So not really seeing anyone that stands out. Logan Martin. There's Bryson Delamonte. It's right at the cut line. For those that follow Kill Taylor and Sevon, he's one of the coaches for Sentinel. He's right now at 1137. So let's see. And Matt DeLugos.
Okay. That's a name I have not seen in a little while.
Yeah. So, and back at Rhino CrossFit, so he's still in the Vegas area. Matt's just a good guy. He's been dealing with some stuff the last couple of years, and I mean, hopefully he's on the right path. I'm glad to see him participating in the Open. I'm glad to see that he's part of the community. Obviously he made it. He was so close for making the games. I believe in 2021 at Granite Games. It might have been 2022. So close, and then he's just dealt with some things since then, and it's very encouraging to see him there. Just a good guy. So
is that the last time that he's been in like live competition?
No, he's done a couple. He's done some couple other ones. He went to I do believe Australia, did a couple team competitions with Con when he was signed with LSKD. But I believe like over the last couple of years, really haven't seen much from him. Just dealing with like personal issues and stuff like that. So obviously, hopefully everything's good with him and he's in the right place right now. And him being in the gym, doing the Open, being around the community, being around those underdogs crew there, I believe that's a great start for him. So hopefully he's seen it. Owen Bernstein, that's a name I'm familiar with. Yeah, it's about it. In terms, there might be some guys past this list, but I'm not going to go too much further. But it seems like those are some notable names that I just brought up. So Jacob Clark, no relation. And Nolan Smith. Yep. So, well, if you're near the cut line, it's not over yet, obviously. Who knows? Maybe that next workout will be in your wheelhouse. So
nothing. Yeah, everybody would love to be near the cut line. They're still very, very fit.
Yeah. Toby Buckland seems to be close for rowing 20. Yeah, I agree, Lynn. Toby's very, very good at rowing. I also do believe Toby is going to compete in the Renegade Games in South Africa. So, but yeah, if he's really close to that cut line, I don't doubt that he'll make that 1% and move on to the online semifinal and live semifinal. This is about Bryson. He said his top 1% is gold. That's crazy. He's so close. Yeah, it really is. I actually think Bryson is above that cut line. So hopefully the workout that comes up will be good for him. So let's switch over to the women's side. But before we talk about the women, I'm going to go exclusive interview that I had with Mirjam. And let's see if I can pull it up. We'll switch over to women. 25.2. So, were you surprised by seeing Mirjam win 25.2? Especially with your limited knowledge of her.
I was not. I do remember hearing the name.
That's not an insult, by the way.
Okay, whatever you say. No, I remember people talking about her last year, so I went back and looked at the leaderboard from last year, and she got second on the gymnastics workout last year, won it this year. So again, like very much in her wheelhouse and something that she's proved to be really good at. So I was not surprised by that at all.
She does have some trouble with ring muscle ups. That is the one thing. She's a shorter athlete. I believe she might be 5 foot. But very strong, very compact. She reminds me of she almost reminds me a little bit of like a bigger, like more filled out version of Carrie Pierce. I'm not with that much gymnastics. Obviously Carrie is really good at gymnastics, but in terms of yeah. But I did message her, asked her if she wanted to come on a show live, and she said, I speak not so good English. I think this is difficult for me. And I'm like, it's okay. It's like, I really don't speak English very well. For my posts, I work with a translator. I understand some things, but sometimes I don't know a word. And then I don't fully understand the question. But you're welcome to ask me a few questions and I answer them in writing. Then you can mention them on the podcast. And which I thought was really cool for her offer that up. And I've met her before. I think she speaks really good English. Actually,
Mhm.
I think it's more of a confidence issue, but I can see how it is. I mean, I remember talking to Gabby Magawa. She was kind of the same way, and some other athletes. And
Mhm.
but I told. I mean, my problem is I suck at speaking Swiss, so it's more my fault than it is her fault. So. Um, but I asked her how many times she did 25.2. She said she did it twice, which is probably the least amount of time she's ever done an open workout. She's notorious for doing them 3 or 4 times. She did it Friday night and then the second one on Monday. She said her second time was the best time, which was, I believe, 4:18, which I think is the third best ever behind Mal O'Brien. And I'm trying to think, I have to go back and look to see. I believe Mal O'Brien. Let me look here. Mal O'Brien and 22.3. Tia Claire, to me,
Mhm.
4:11 and 4:12. So, and of course, that's a year that Mal first, second, first, and she got second by 4 seconds to
So
Tia.
I just watched Tia's video that she put out about that workout from
Mhm.
22.3. And
Yeah,
she actually said that she beat Mal, but she got a 5-second penalty, which
yeah,
put her in second place. So that stinks.
which is funny. Which is funny because she actually addresses that. Mirjam actually addresses that. My first time was 4:27, but I started only behind the line and not behind the barbell. I did the same thing wrong like Tia did in 2022. I know this mistake is a time penalty, and then I tried to work out again on Monday and the time of 4:18. So it's kind of funny that you brought that up because she brought it up too. So it kind of shows you she's a kind of a student of the sport as well.
Mhm.
Knowing. I mean, you brought it up, but you're kind of expected to know that in the seat that you're in now. Her, I don't know. It's kind of good. I do know her coach. Her coach is very well. He's very what do you want to call it? Uh, you know, shoot, trying to think. He's very mental. He's very he everything about him is very direct. He's just a really good guy. Um, One time fittest man in Switzerland as well before Colin Boss started kind of taking the title. Um, I asked her if winning the Open again was the goal at the start of this year. She goes, "No, the goal was only to place in the top 1% to qualify for the online semifinal. I didn't set any further goals in advance. However, I told myself that if there was a workout that perfectly matched my strengths, I would try to achieve the best score worldwide. But I can't predict that beforehand. It depends on the workouts. The first workout was one where I thought I might be possible to set the world's best score, so I gave it a try. For the second workout, I have to say that I didn't expect to finish in first place. I assumed there would be others who would complete the workout even faster. That's
I mean,
yeah,
I love that she is goes in with realistic expectations of like this is like the overall goal is to finish in the top to qualify. But if there is something that I'm like supposed to be really good at, then I'm gonna give it my all and show the world. I think that's really cool because you don't know going into it. It could be workouts that are all horrible for you and that you're not going to do very well at, and you kind of have to claw your way into there. But the fact that she kind of had two separate goals, if you will, I think that's really cool. And she's obviously killed it the last 2 weeks. So
yeah. So I went on to ask her about like what her plans for the season are. Obviously, there's semifinals, and then like you brought up and we brought up last week, she does other competitions. Like over the last 3 weeks, she did a high rock, she did an Olympic lifting, she did, of course, that was all prior to the Open. And I kind of asked her that, and she goes, I asked her any other competition, World Fitness Project, high rocks, lifting, which semifinals you're going to. She says, I'll do the weightlifting European Champions in Avril in Moldova. Then I compete in High Rocks in Barcelona, individual pro. It's the same date as Wildland Fest, which is the Spanish semifinal, which is why I won't compete at Wildland Fest. Instead, she elected to just do the French Throwdown. So she's going to do the online semifinal and then the French Throwdown, but not any more semifinals.
okay.
Uh, uh, this past Sunday, she did her first ski marathon. She was very slow. And in June, I plan on competing in the High Rex World Championships in the age group under 24 individual and a double on a double mixed team.
She's
So
very active.
yeah, very active. I asked her, I'm like, what drives you to do these many different competition challenges? Because kind of back. She's like, this year I'm not going to do the World Fitness Project because it's too many competitions, but maybe I'll try it next year. And then I kind of asked her, like, what drives you to do all these competitions? And she goes, I enjoy doing different sports much more. This way, I don't feel much pressure and I can approach everything in a more relaxed way. Because I do things with ease and a lot of passion, my performance is much better than if I were to focus on just one sport. I would find it too boring to do only CrossFit, only high rocks, or only weightlifting, and I would put too much pressure on myself. I love getting insights into different sports and learning from the best in each discipline. And honestly, I just have an incredible amount of fun doing it. I've created a 6-year plan for myself. Right now, my goal is not to specialize in CrossFit yet, but to achieve in many sports and learn as much as possible. I do consider CrossFit my main sport, but I don't want to limit myself too much just yet. In a few years, I plan to fully focus on CrossFit, but for now, I want to work on my weaknesses in different sports like weightlifting. My goal is to specialize in multiple sports, see how far I can go, and then in a few years, bring everything I've learned together to become a great CrossFit athlete.
I think that's awesome, and it reminds me a lot of what elite level CrossFit athletes do once they retire. And she's just kind of flipping it. Now before she
Yeah.
retires, she's getting experience doing a bunch of different things. As opposed to when people retire, then they start to kind of branch out and do other kinds of fitness. I think that's cool that she's doing it now and not really limiting herself. Is it going to affect her, progression and to be an elite level athlete in CrossFit? I don't know, because it seems like you have to live and breathe CrossFit in order to be at the top. But I think that's really cool that she's having fun with it, and that's why we all do CrossFit, is so we can do other cool things like that.
Yeah, I agree. And then she kind of closed out said, my goal is to find out where my physical and mental limits are and what my maximum potential is. That is my driving force. And it's just, she's 23 years old. She's had success on high rocks on a national stage, and now she's seeing it in CrossFit. And that's crazy because, like she said, it's like she's not trying to be the best CrossFitter right now. She's using CrossFit as kind of and that's a beauty of CrossFit. Like if you become good at CrossFit or just understand CrossFit, it opens up so many other physical things that you would limit yourself. I
Yep.
mean, that's the reason I found CrossFit is because of my military. I need to be in a certain shape to be in the military.
Yep.
And the military is very active. It's very functional. The military is, and I felt the best way for me to stay in that shape to maintain my functionality in the military is CrossFit. And I think she's finding the same thing, but more from an athlete standpoint. I just think it's crazy just the amount of maturity she has, and I think it says a lot about her. It says a lot about her team that she has around, and it seems like they have a really good plan set up for it. Because you brought it up earlier, you see there's certain athletes competing. Some are doing a lot of competition, some aren't. She seems like she is doing a lot of competitions, but they're not CrossFit competitions. So, and then you brought up the point about like it's almost like reversing what like retired CrossFitters would do. First thing I thought of was Christy O'Connell. When she retired, she ran a half marathon, she ran a full marathon, she did a couple high rocks. She did some ultra marathons. It sounds like she's kind of embraced that kind of reverse, just kind of seeing what fitness does for her in other disciplines. But you're also seeing other athletes. You see James Sprague qualify for the championship. You're seeing other athletes doing high rocks. I've been saying this for a couple of years now. I'm like, why aren't CrossFit athletes doing high rocks? I think if anything, it's a good because we know how it is at the games. When you get to the games, you're going to have more than one running event. The games weekend is almost like a high rocks event in certain aspects, where you're running, how many events have we seen like, up in Madison where you have to run a 400 and come back and do another round of something, or run run down and back, it's more sprinty, but it still is about capacity and endurance. And I think that's what, high rocks kind of does. So that's why you have people that are very critical of someone like James Sprague. Like, oh, he only won because it was more of it was like high rocks or it was a running games. I'm like, but that's how every games is. That's how every games is. So,
I think too, high rocks is something that they can participate in that you can recover easier than what you could a CrossFit competition. So it's easy to kind of pop in and pop out because it is mostly endurance and running, and the stations in between are things that CrossFitters are very used to doing. So it's not very high impact. So you can do it and not let it affect a lot of your training.
oh, I 100% agree. That's what I look at. It's like most athletes are going to be at gym on Saturday, and usually their Saturday sessions are pretty long sessions, anyways. I'm like, there's probably some cardio, they might even do a chipper, but I'm like, why not just find a high rocks and do that?
Yep.
And do that for an hour and 6 minutes or whatever. Push yourself, and there you go. You just did your workout for Saturday.
Yep.
And you've got to do it against live competition. And if you're lucky enough, you're maybe one of these competitions, your high rocks competitions, you might even win a couple dollars out of it.
Yeah, it is. I will say, because I've been to one, and those elite athletes there are insane. So I can see putting yourself as a CrossFit athlete against some of the pros there at High Rocks kind of gives you a little extra competition that maybe you wouldn't find wherever it is that you train for CrossFit, because they are freaks at High Rocks. Also, they are so fast. So it's a little different stimulus when you put yourself into that environment because you're not usually there.
Yeah, and that's why I think someone like Amy Kringle, Sydney Wells, Emily Rolfe, I think those are athletes who, they should. I mean, Sydney did give High Rocks a shot this past year, but I talked to her after it, and she said she was ill prepared for it. She didn't do the right training for it, and she wasn't expecting just how fit those other girls were. Yeah, she was stronger than them, but she also said, I mean, she was trying not to go out too hot, but apparently the secret is you want to go out hot and put the pressure, because your recovery is on the run. So if you can get a pretty decent lead to start off with, you're kind of just fighting off everyone the rest of the way.
I guess.
So it's easier to be in the lead than to catch up in High Rocks, from what I've heard.
No, okay, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Especially for someone that's strong at some of these other events, like the sled push and stuff like that. That's where a lot of athletes do make up time. But someone like Sydney or Amy Kringle, or even someone like Sahara Kaya or Bethany Bethany Flores has done a High Rocks as well. Some of those type of athletes, James Sprague, those are easy events for them. So,
yep.
Anyway, I didn't want to turn this into a High Rock show. We're here to talk about 25.2 because I know some CrossFitters think High Rocks is a bad word. I think it's complimentary personally, because, I mean, Lynn said it itself. CrossFit is meant to be the gateway, the base for you to do all these other things. So I don't know why a lot of people get upset about it. I think if anything, they should take more pride in that. It's like, Mirjam did CrossFit before she started doing High Rocks, and then she became a world-class High Rocks athlete. And now she used that to become a better CrossFit athlete. So really cool. So 25.2. Again, I did a top 6 athletes to look for. I did not originally put Mirjam on that. I regret that because, I don't know why I didn't do that. But I did put Annika Greer, Visa Gaffi, Danielle Brandon, Maddie Sturt, and I think I forgot who my other athlete was. Marissa Flowers. So all those athletes finished in the top 16. So I don't know if there are any bets or games going on, but I thought I was kind of pat myself on the back for that. But I named that.
Oh, go ahead. I was just going to say, Fee is also doing great. I'm a Fee fan for sure. Hoping for her comeback story as well. But a 3rd place finish last week and a 4th place finish this week, I think, is amazing.
Yeah, I think so. I was able to talk to her. She was like, I believe she did it twice. But she had someone guess what her time was, and they won a prize. And Brian guessed the right time.
Of course he did.
Leave it to Brian. Of course he did. Erica Polo, 428. Very impressive by Erica. Erica actually is probably one of the very good at gymnastics, especially pulling. She kind of showed that off at semifinals last year. But a 428 for her, her movement, she moves so well. The thrusters are no problem. She's very, very strong shoulders. If you ever seen her, she's like jacked. I mean, Hiller calls her the most jacked woman in CrossFit, and it starts with the shoulders on up, and it's impressive. Then Annika, a 429. Annika is just amazing when it comes to the same thing. Those are her jams. I mean, thrusters, that's her jam, and rings. But still, any gymnastics, Annika is going to do really well with 429. So you have two Canadians right up there with the Swiss sensation. B finishing at 430. DB. See, a lot of people think DB is just. This is why I think DB is due for a big year. And it's not only because she did good in this workout, because this is a workout I expected her to be good at. She too is one of the better gymnasts out there, especially when it comes to upper body pulling and pushing. She finished at 435, but she's it looks like she's finally getting to the point where her back is healthy and she trusts that. And the thrusters, that weight didn't seem to be any issue for her. So 435, and you look at her compared to these other women, she's taller, a little bit bigger than them. So that's an amazing time for her. Though Maria Quintaro, she been to the games on teams. She's part of those not Miami Soul teams, but I'm trying to remember which one. Hype might be CrossFit Hype, maybe. But she's small. I mean, she's like 4'11", maybe weighs 115 pounds, but finishes in the sixth. Not surprised by that. Maddie Sturt, we talked about Jay Crouch. Here's Maddie Sturt, 436, followed by Claudia Gluck, which is also no surprise. She's a very high-level gymnast, one of the smaller athletes. Alice Kazan I thought was really impressive, with 441. She seems like looks like she's kind of recovering from some injuries that she suffered in the offseason. Andrea Solberg, I'm not surprised by that. She's one of the best gymnasts in the world, especially when it comes to the bar. And that very good at thrusters, followed by Lexi Neely, another person with a gymnastics background. And there's that girl, Alzani Ikazabal. I'm probably butchering that, but from Spain, 31 years old, second and 11th here, putting her third overall. Again, I don't know much about her. I know who her training partners are. She does train with some highly competitive athletes in Spain. But this is impressive for her. And then Lucy McGonigal, the teenage athlete, at 13th. Rebecca Foussier, another gymnast, 14th. Lucy Campbell, just plugging along, 15th place. I brought up Marissa Flowers again. She's another body weight specialist, really good on the bars. Another top 20 finish for her. Ariel at 17th. Elizabeth Wizard at 18th. Tied with Luisa Marquez. Julia Blaza-Jowska from Poland at 451. Tied with Rebecca Devine. Caroline Prevost. Very impressive by Caroline. Not her weakest thing is double unders. And she finished 20th in a workout that featured unbroken double unders. So great job, Caroline. She stands fourth overall. That's kind of the top 20. Any of those names that I mentioned kind of stand out for you?
I mean, you talked about Danielle Brandon, and this doesn't have anything to do necessarily with the workout, but like every single year, I'm like really hoping that like this is her year. And I feel like she's just like almost there, but not there. So I'm hoping that you're right about, her back issues are better and that she's really like coming back to fight, because I do like her. And I know she's good at gymnastics, but when you look at the top people on that workout, they are much smaller athletes. So I was surprised to see that she was up there. And what'd she get? Fifth in that workout. Yep. I was surprised to see that. And she was close to the other scores too.
Yeah. And she moved. I think she's in a happy place mentally. She moved from Nashville down to Tampa. She wants to be by the ocean. She says she feels better when she's by the ocean. Natural sun, everything like that. I think she's in a good place there. I think she found a really good community. And I'm really really interested to see what goes on from here. I mean, if the next workout is what we think it is, I think Danielle might put up another good score. Really good on her handstand wall walks, really good on the row, deadlifts or cleans or snatches if that's involved. We'll see, but I don't foresee those being too heavy. At least not enough for her to struggle in. Um, any other names there that you have a question about, or maybe I can give a little bit more information on?
I know we missed her last week, but we didn't talk about Alex.
Mhm.
I was after the show realized that we didn't talk about her, and I was surprised to see her score from last week. I know that she did have, I think, a shoulder injury. Is that correct? She
I
had
believe a couple other things too. I think her wrist was bothering her as well. So
but to see her back, she's also somebody that people talk about a lot, and I just like really like wait for her to do something because I think she will, and she's one of those people that I hope kind of breaks through because there is a lot of chatter about her. But to see her get ninth in this workout and come back from last week for whatever reason that is was good too.
yeah, yeah. Let's look at the overall leaderboard here. Let's see how it looks after week one. I mean, no surprise, Mirjam, just like Colten, uh, clean sweep so far.
Yeah. Um, Alice, how did you pronounce her name? I can't remember. But in third place, which is great, a second and an 11th place finish. I guess again we'll see kind of what happens this week and what the workout is and what happens with that place. But
Sorry, I was bringing something up. This is her. Has some semifinal experience. It looks like. Looks like she probably moves pretty well. She looks like kind of.
and she's from where?
She's from Spain.
Spain. Okay.
This is her point two right here. One and done. Even more. So it's impressive.
Yep. Very impressive.
And of course, Mirjam in the comments, congratulating her.
She looks great.
Thrusters, yeah, really good on the thrusters. Seeing full lockout, head through the window. She's going low enough. Yeah. I mean, like I said, this isn't the full video, but this could be one of these. That's a weird thing about the Open. It's like every year you see a name that pops up you're not really familiar with,
Yeah.
and you know, even though not still people aren't familiar with Mirjam, even after she won the Open last year. And did you know if she does hold on for the Open, which we'll talk about who the people are that could be on the lookout for the upset, she would be she would be the fifth athlete to win multiple Open titles, and only the fourth one to win back-to-back Open titles. Mal O'Brien actually did it 22-23. And then Sarah Sigmundsdottir did from 2019 to 2020. And then Sam Briggs did in 2013 and 2014.
Okay. Interesting.
So that's a pretty impressive list of names there. Saying that. So, and Sarah's actually won 3 Opens, which is more than any other woman has.
So last year she got 37th in the deadlift and rowing workout.
Mhm.
So yeah, still not a bad score at all. So we'll see.
Yeah, she's actually a really good rower. I think it's the deadlifts, but I think she's stronger than she was last year. I mean, I got to watch her at the IF3. She set like 3 different PRs on a snatch complex, which is very impressive. But yeah, she's definitely is stronger than she was last year. She's a really good rower. She might be one of the best rowers. I mean, if you look at her high rocks splits, like if you look, because high rocks has this way, you can look at someone's the way their leaderboard works. You can look at an individual, their splits, and where they rank all time,
Yep.
or that year in those particular like events. and she ranked like near the top in rowing and also wall balls. So
And I would not,
you would not expect that, right?
not at all, from a shorter athlete, not at all. I would think quite the opposite, actually.
Yeah, but she's shorter. But if you saw the size of her legs and the way she does, and it, I have to show you some video of her doing wall balls. But I mean, I don't think these photos do it justice. But her legs are just they're trunks. They are huge. I mean, that's her doing the thrusters right there. I mean, she is put together well.
She looks
Um,
great.
yeah. So she's leg drive, and which is very impressive. Um, let's go back, bring that leaderboard back up. You brought up, so overall leaderboard looking like Mirjam with 2 points, just like Colten. Fee right behind her in second with 7 points, followed by Igizabal. I'll have to figure that out. I really will need to figure that out. I wish Brian was here. Brian would immediately correct me. Um, but she's in third at 13 points, followed by Prevo, which is a great job for Prevo. I think she's a master's athlete now. Yeah, she's a master's athlete now. Probably one of her best open performances at 35 years old. And again, that was a workout that featured double unders, which is usually her Achilles heel. But guess what isn't her Achilles heel?
Gymnastics.
No.
Thrusters.
No.
I'm out of guesses.
Deadlifts and rowing.
For next week. Okay. Well, that's good. Well, hopefully we'll see.
She is the record holder for the most consecutive deadlifts at, I believe, 185.
Oh,
She's the row record holder. She's held that row record, and she's considered probably the best deadlifter in CrossFit. And she's a really good rower. So if that is what we're looking for or looking at, Carolyn could definitely make a push. Lucy Campbell's tied with her 26 points, followed by Danielle at 27 points at sixth place. Marissa Flowers, who we talked about earlier, I talked about her last week, seventh place, 29 points. Andrea Solberg at eighth. Julia from Poland in ninth, and Kristen Holta, speaking of masters athlete, in 10th, followed by another Swedish athlete or Swiss athlete, Elena Wirtz. So, and then
I did watch that video of Kristen, and that was awesome.
And she tripped up twice on the last double under rope, which is unheard of for someone like her.
Yeah, that was a really cool video to see side by side. And I liked that it was in the same gym, in the same space, so you could really see the difference. And she moved so much smoother than what she did back then. Her transitions were faster. She did great. That was really cool to see.
Yeah. So if you haven't watched it, there's if you go to the Krieger Training YouTube channel, they put up a video. She's been doing that the night of, after an open announcement, her and her coach Joachim they'll game plan, and then they'll go out and immediately shoot it and post it up on YouTube. So if you haven't watched it, watch them. They're so good. And, just seeing someone like Kristen Holta, who's considered one of the best ever from Europe, if not all time, it's just crazy what she does, especially at 38 years old, and just kind of setting the standard for all those Krieger athletes in Norway. But yeah, she's there at 10th. Not bad for a semi-retired, maybe retired athlete. And then I'd be remiss if I didn't say Poppy Hay from Australia. Kind of impressive for her. Not a name many people are familiar with. Lynn is a huge fan, apparently. Here we go. First time I've heard of her. Poppy Hay, first time I've ever heard of her. Yeah, I don't know much about her as well. I guess we could pull up her profile and take a look. So, I mean, looks like relatively young in terms of CrossFit. 111th in the world last year, 12th this year. 10th fittest in Australia, which is impressive because we all know how those Australians are. Didn't do very well in the quarterfinals, and then team quarterfinals didn't do so well. Then semifinals, their team finished 12th in the semifinals, Oceania. So looks like she's giving it a shot in the individual side, and definitely a name worth looking out for. How old is she? 27 years old. So,
Okay.
so found CrossFit 4 years ago. Uda, big fan of her. 43rd, finished 8th. She'll be someone, if the workout is rumored like we think it is for 25.3, she'll probably move up. She's really good at machines. She's very good with a barbell. Her at 13, she's a team athlete as well. Went to the games last year on a team, did really well. At only 24 years old as well, training out in Norway. Ariel at 14th. I mean, Ariel, just you can never discount her. And right behind her, Alexis Raptis. It seems like those two are almost connected to the hip when it comes to being fit Americans. Along with someone like Danielle. But I think Alexis and Ariel have been the most consistent over the last couple of years. Anything you want to say about those two?
Not surprised to see them together. Ariel, though, I feel like she either does really, really well or she kind of falls in the back of the pack a little bit. So I was surprised to see her in 14th on the leaderboard this week. We didn't talk about her last week either, I don't think, but surprised to see her so far up overall. Because again, I feel like recently I don't know, I'm kind of feeling different about it. But Alexis Raptis is also somebody that I really, really hope kind of breaks through again this year and keeps proving people that she deserves to be there. She's like one of those top 10 athletes for me that sometimes makes it or sometimes doesn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I agree. I think what you see, if you look at both their scores, they're just solid. It's consistent. Yep. And that's like Ariel Owen, like specialty, Yep. You remember when she does really well, like if she wins an event. I mean, I always think back to her when she beat, on the P bars back in 2022 when she beat Tia, mm-hmm. And she was like in disbelief over it. But but that's also an athlete that, whenever people do rankings or they predict, they always have her like outside the podium, but yet she's always there on the podium. The reason why, and I was thinking about this the reason why she doesn't make mistakes, whereas other athletes, I mean, she knows, you never see her like burn out or go out too fast. She knows who she is. Yeah. She just has that one speed, or she gets up that speed and she stays there. And she's just consistent across the board. She doesn't make many mistakes. She makes adjustments on the fly, probably better than anyone. And she's just consistent. She's not going to wow you with a bunch of first place wins. She's going to wow you crossing the finish line, smiling and acting like she just PR'd something. But that she'll probably be like fifth in that heat. But here she is, 36 in the 17th. Whereas Alexis Raptis is a little bit different, where she does have home runs. She is the type of athlete to win events. Especially I think particularly like anything with up, she's probably one of the best handstand push-up athletes in the world, strict or kipping, and she's really good on the echo bike too, and then has high level of gymnastics as well, and she's getting stronger. And now that I think now it appears that she's completely healthy, or at least getting as healthy as she can be. I think she's an athlete to watch out for, like you said. And then we mentioned Erica Folo finished second. That moves her up to 19th overall, which is very impressive. This is someone that I was high on last year that I actually had made going to the game. She kind of, was really impressive in semifinals. Just that the last event got her. She, just fell apart at the end. But I think she bounced back. She's bounced back from that. She's learned from that. If you watch the Hiller video, she took a lot more lessons learned from that, more than anything. And then some familiar names like Rebecca Foussier, Trissa Smith, another teenage athlete in 25th, Manon Angonese, 26th, Luisa Marquez, she's competed on teams, also was a teen athlete. And then we get into someone like Caroline Ferreira, who competed on teams a couple of years ago, Lauren Stallwood, who people know as Laws. These are really good workouts for her. If there's a rowing workout in the third one in deadlifts, I think Lauren will do really good in that. Amy Kringle, we talked about earlier. And then look at that. At 31st, Sarah Sigmundstad.
She's definitely higher than I had expected her to be on the leaderboard for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I would say she would, for me, after seeing her compete and then talking to her and just knowing her. I mean, she just does well in the open, and I think right now she's just in a spot right now, like kind of like what we're talking about with Alexis. Just getting, you know, she has an autoimmune immune disease as well, and and she doesn't have, I guess, an ACL or something like that. But she's just plugging along. She's probably one of the toughest athletes out there, and she's wants to make it to the games again. She misses the crowd. She misses the people. So this is really cool to see her do, and I think there's a lot of windows of opportunities for her to make it to the games if she's willing to pursue those.
How long has it been since she's been to the CrossFit Games?
I believe 2021.
Oh, it's been longer than I thought.
I believe 2021.
I think the fans would like to see her back because she has been a favorite for so long. Okay.
So 2019, because 2020 was the online games, so she didn't compete in person. So 2019 was her last time she competed, and that was the year they had all the national athletes or national champions, and she didn't make. She got cut, the final cut, so we didn't get to see her play the whole way through, and that was just a weird game.
Yeah.
And then 2018, that's when she, I believe, broke a rib, and then she just like, and then you look third, fourth. 2018, I remember because she competed. That's when she moved to Cookeville and was training with Mayhem, and she competed in the Central Regional that year.
Mm-hmm.
And she was so impressive watching in person. I mean, I really thought 2018. I thought she was going to win the games that year. I mean, how do you like not think that? I mean, she was third, and fourth, and she'd gotten better being at Mayhem, and she looked just unstoppable. It was just impressive. And then she had that injury leading up to it, and yeah, it's weird. You think about it. It's like we haven't seen her live at the game since 2019. That's almost 6 years. Um, and like you said, she's someone that we need, that fans still love. She's still one of the most popular. I mean, over 1 million followers. She's an icon in the sport. She's probably one of the most genuine and nicest people I've ever met too. You got to meet her once, very briefly.
I did. Yes, I did get to meet her. I do think it would be cool, like for her, because she has had such a hard time the last few years with things happening or circumstances of the competition, that to see her back like healthy one last time would be really cool.
Kind of going round out the top 50, there's Claudia Glug, Madeline Sturr, who I talked about, 112, which I was really surprised by that in the 25.1, but bounces back sixth place. Hannah Hardy, Abigail Domit, 61st, 79th, pretty solid. Lindsay Lane, Rebecca Devine of Mayhem, former teen athlete, trains out of Mayhem, 20th on that, 451. And then, yeah. Another teenager, another daughter, right there at 18 years old.
Jeez.
And then kind of let's look ahead at that cut line, like we said before.
There is, before you skip to the cut line, I did notice when I was looking through the overall leaderboard, there's like a bubble of athletes in like 56th and 69th that I just noticed as I was scrolling, like Lexi Neely, Bethany Flores, Emily Rolfe, all of them, Kyra, are all in like the 56th to 69th place, all kind of hanging out around there too. I don't know where that I noticed.
Yeah, they're pretty safe in that group right here. Reese Littlewood, like you said, Emily Rolfe, Yoku, who we talked about last week from Japan. Kyra, Leah Storin, she's another pretty good athlete. Hattie Canyo, Danny Spiegel, Sapphire Godard, Emily Rethwell, Zoe Warren, Lydia Fish. I mean, like I said, it's kind of a who's who. Brooke Wells and Sydney Wells are right there, not too far from each other. Let's see, where's Sydney out there? 81st and 74th. They actually, I didn't realize this, but 25.1, they actually had the same amount of reps, 302 reps.
Oh, wow. And
then and Brooke beat Sydney. Sydney only did that workout once, and that was at the open announcement. And Brooke beat her by is that 12 seconds? So
I did see Sydney had posted her old video from when she did this back in 22, and the difference between the two is amazing.
she's gotten better. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't. I mean,
You can't
the
argue
upside
it.
the upside on her. I mean, yes, she's 30 years old, but her competition age. I mean, and for women, I mean, that's like peak time, peak strength. Um, she's only going to get better. She doesn't have that wear and tear of some of the other athletes. Not even Brooke. Like Brooks had some injuries, some wear and tears here and there. Sydney doesn't have that. Olivia Kerstetter, City McAlishan, Gracie Walton, Caroline Spencer, Annika Greer, we mentioned before. And, yeah, Mary Helen Saunders, a traditional team athlete. So let's try to jump to the cut line, or at least projected cut line. I believe it's probably going to be around 1,100, 1,200 for them, but we'll look around that number and see who's threatened by that. And then we'll take a look at Tia and see where she's at. Probably should have looked at her first, but anyways. Let's go. So almost there. So let's start off at 11. Let's see, after 1,100. So these athletes are probably around the projected cut line. I might be off maybe by a couple hundred or so, but these are really not really seeing anyone standing out right now. Jennifer Dieter, she's a Masters athlete. That's pretty impressive. 51. She's been to the games multiple times as a Masters athlete. Lundgren, Lindsay Porter, former teen athlete, made the last chance qualifiers in 2021, I believe. Also recovering from an injury to her knee, right there near the cut line. 25 years old. Not a good 25.1, but bounced back pretty decently at 25.2. What else we have here? Take a look at this, and then we'll move on. Mary Porter, I believe she's from St. Louis or Missouri, CrossFit St. Louis.
Okay.
Yep.
Represent.
Representing. And,
I'm not seeing anybody.
yeah. Rebecca Vidison.
Is she healthy again?
Don't know. I don't know. Probably not. I mean, it looks like that first one she did 8 rounds. She got capped, so maybe she's not there. I mean, that was a pretty brutal injury that she suffered last year at the finals. So, I know she's a really big part of that Butcher's Lab community. So hopefully this is just her, getting to that point. So it's good to see her name on there. Janelle Schaefer, I believe she's from Missouri too. Emma Harving, she's on the Army Warrior Fitness team. Probably she's more of she's good. She's on the upswing, but this is a little bit of struggling for her. I expected a little bit better performance from her, but yeah, she looks like she got capped in the burpees over a dumbbell. She isn't really known for her motor or engine, but very strong. She won the weightlifting event at IF3. Try to think. Oh, soon to be Miss Gerard. This is Michelle. This is Ricky Gerard's fiance. She's awesome. Just a great person. Right there. How cool would that be if she made the online semifinals and her and Ricky can do it in their gym? That would be really cool.
I love that.
Yeah, that's really cool. She's been like really like full blown into CrossFit. And she's really fit. Just a great person. So great job on Michelle. I'm hoping she does well in it. So yeah, that's about it. So let's take a look at Tia, break down what her performance is, and then maybe we can close this up. There. To me. 234th.
Okay.
87th. This is an event that she, I think, had the second best time in 22.
Mm-hmm.
5:29. I believe she did it twice. I think she did it maybe twice in one day. She did her first one in Australia, and then came back, and then she's been kind of on a tour, like an open tour. So I believe she's going to do 25.3 a different location.
Okay.
I would imagine probably maybe a CrossFit Proven affiliated gym, perhaps. But as we know, she's kind of like, she did really well in that high rock. She finished second in that mixed doubles with James Newberry to Hunter McIntyre and the Australian women's champion, high rocks champion. So, she seems like she's kind of just, maybe she's kind of doing that Mirjam thing where she's just, just trying things out.
I saw in her video that she said that she has not touched a barbell since Rogue. So that is still impressive to be able to do stuff. I mean, obviously she's the fittest, but to be able to focus on different stuff and still get 234th is nothing to, bat your eyes at. But it just proves how fit she is, that she can kind of take a break essentially from actual CrossFit training. She's still training, but to still put up good scores like this is great.
Yeah, that's really, I mean, just how impressive she is, because we all know a focused Tia is an unbeatable Tia.
Yeah.
Proven that time and time again. So some breaking news here. Thanks, Rambler. Guy is not competing in the game season. So this is according to the Barbell Spin. Just posted a YouTube video on it. Guy said he only did the Open to get points for Rogue, which I understand. For some athletes, right now, currently looking at, if you want to be a professional athlete, and by being professional, that means you're making money, you're getting paid for it. The CrossFit Games season, unless you make the games, well, even then, it's the Rogue Invitational has a higher prize purse, and it's guaranteed top 20. I mean, if you make Rogue, you're guaranteed to make at least $7,000, $8,000, depending on whatever Bitcoin is, if they invested in Bitcoin again this year. So let's see.
I'm not surprised to see that.
Yeah. And also, if you look at it, I mean, so many competitions. Well, we won't have to worry about it next year, but like this year, the World Fitness Project based the athletes they invited and put in contract based off the Rogue Invitational. Mayhem based their who they invited based off the Rogue qualifiers. So
okay.
So here it is. In a series of Instagram stories spoken in Portuguese, Guy explained that he will not look to qualify for the 2025 CrossFit Games and will instead focus on competing in the World Fitness Project. So logically, financially, it's much better for me to compete in the WFP. So we're talking about those finances again. And Guy is probably one of those athletes who does make a significant amount of money based off of sponsorships. He's he has such a following in South America, and he's and across the world. Like, he's very popular in Asia as well, the Middle East. He's just a very popular guy overall. So I'm talking all that, and I didn't even bring it up. I'm an idiot. Yeah.
Oh no.
And like Lynn said, he's good at Rogue. I mean, he is. He's one of those athletes who traditionally does well at Rogue, kind of like Chandler is too. So, So what that does, we see another athlete that's kind of just, I don't know. Do you think there's going to be more athletes that maybe decide after the Open that they're just going to concentrate on something else or not the game season?
I could see them kind of like as a safety net, I guess, like maybe not ready to commit to one or the other yet. So they're doing it just to see how things play out maybe in the next couple months, or until they really make their mind up. I hadn't actually thought of that until we were talking about him, but I can see it being a safety net. I'm going to do it just to be safe, just in case, and then I can kind of decide what to do from there. So we could possibly see a couple more people do something like this.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, Grambler brought up a good point about Ariel. Ariel could possibly be one of those athletes, but I think it's all. I think after coming off of last year, and I've talked to athletes, there's such a mental and physical and spiritual drain of a difficult season, um, and I think some athletes just aren't ready to be a part of CrossFit, like the game season, the format, whether it be the rules or the uncertainty or the people or just dealing with HQ. I mean, everyone knows. I mean, not everyone knows, but sometimes HQ can be difficult to work with. You know, a lot of time. I mean, that's one thing the PFA really wanted to do is just they wanted a defined season. Um, and I think the World Fitness Project coming um, presenting itself gives athletes those options. Now, some athletes are going to elect to do both. But I don't. I think some of those athletes that are electing to do both. I think you're going to see a pretty decent percentage elected just do one season over the other.
I agree. I do think that it has the other options have allowed people to explore a little bit more. Like if we didn't have the WFP, I think we'd see more people maybe on the leaderboard or participating in the Open that probably aren't now. But because there are other options, like what's the harm right now to kind of explore other things?
I think the harm is just the pushback from people who think that because they're not doing the Open that they don't care about the community. I think it's the complete opposite. I just think at the end of the day they have a job. Their job is being a professional athlete or aspiring to be a professional athlete. And really, if you look at it, there's only in the game season you can really only have maybe I forgot what the payout purse is, but I think only really 4 people, maybe 8 total if you count the women, that can make a claim to be a professional athlete because only one of those people are going to make over 6 figures.
Yep.
And the way the world is right now, and you probably know better, and I mean most people know it's like unless you're making 6 figures, it's hard to maintain a comfortable lifestyle.
Yeah.
You look at this compared to other sports. I know a lot of people hate comparing it to other sports, but that's just how it is. When you have a sport, you have to compare it to another sport.
Yep.
And athletes need to compete to make money, and they're not going to make all their money from prize purses. They're going to make it off sponsorships, but they have to stay relevant in those sports. So you can't, if you're consistently finishing 30th or worse at the games, you're not going to get the sponsorships.
Yep.
There's a lot of pressure on these athletes to maintain, being a top 10 athlete, being a top 5 youth. But
and that's too, like, I don't think that's a fair claim. And now we're talking about sports, but to say that the athletes don't care about the community because they don't sign up to do the Open or to support CrossFit HQ right now, I think is not very fair. And that's kind of how I felt about doing the Open too. Once I thought about it, like my responsibility is not to get as many people as possible to sign up for the Open to save CrossFit. It's to help in my local affiliate or however I can to kind of get more people to believe in CrossFit as much as I do and to love it as much as I do. It's not like signing up for the Open is something, but there's more that you can do for the community, elite level athlete or not, to help support CrossFit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm one of the first people like CrossFit. CrossFit saved my life. It's in many ways, and and I will always be on the side of CrossFit in terms of like what it offers in terms of health benefits, making people healthy, making people better versions of themselves. The community they offer is like anywhere I travel around the world. I travel alone a lot. It gets lonely sometimes. But if I want to make friends or if I want to figure out where the best restaurant is, all I have to do is go to a CrossFit gym, and boom, immediately I'm making friends. Or you have that I mean, there's really, it's very similar to the military and playing sports, like that kind of that community aspect of it. But the CrossFit community is unlike any other. I mean, it spans different ages and sexes and it spans the globe. And I think that's what's really cool about it. I think what a lot of what people for the community are saying is that they think their athletes are turning their back on the community when they're not. They're turning their back on the people that are in charge of CrossFit. They're making a stand, and a lot of people may not like the idea of people making stands, but a lot of great our freaking the United States wouldn't be what it is if it weren't for people making a stand for what they believe.
Mm-hmm.
And you may disagree if it's right or wrong, but ultimately, people are going to make decisions that they think are best for themselves, and those decisions shouldn't impact your own decision. If it is, then you need to reevaluate how you are influenced. I did not sign up for the Open because Patrick Vellner didn't sign up for the Open. I signed up for the Open because I'm nowhere near an affiliate. I'm really busy with work right now. I just there's no way for me to do it. I didn't do it because I disagree with CrossFit. I would, it's just because I'm just too busy to do it. And I just don't have the time for it. However, I found other ways to offer the community by again signing up for the judges course and doing other things. Taking pictures at a local affiliate if they need it. The closest affiliate for me is an hour away, so I've made plans on Friday to, their Friday night lights later. I'll go out there and take pictures. No charge, just doing it because I like being around that community. But yeah, and then the morning chalk up again. They posted something today. This is something I've heard of. I wasn't sure if it was real or not, but this group, they pretty much run majority of the big gyms in Norway, and we were talking about Rieger and Oslo, CrossFit Oslo, and they're de-affiliating. And I don't think it's more for a stand. And Ivan here, who runs the gym, he's he was a member of those CrossFit Oslo teams, so he's the guy knows the community. He knows his community. He knows CrossFit. He's podium at the games, I believe, 4 years in a row with CrossFit Oslo. Three times, 2 seconds and a third. They're de-affiliating, and I think it's more of a cost thing more than anything. When you own that many gyms and you're not getting value out of the CrossFit name, and I think Oslo, the community in Norway, because it's so fitness based, like people know what CrossFit is. They know what functional fitness are. They don't need to see CrossFit on it. They just know where to go. I think this is one of those instances where the brand doesn't really, them paying for the brand, the name, say CrossFit, doesn't really hurt or help them.
Yeah, I can see that. And their flagship gym has 800 members, it says, which is wild.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is CrossFit.
Sorry.
Who's that, Blaze?
Yeah, it's Blaze.
That's my boy Blaze. By the way, I'm Team Blaze. So, right. But yeah, the 800 member CrossFit Oslo, that was the gym that you saw what Kristen Holta was doing the workout in. It's actually like 3 levels. So it's cool. And then right across, there's a global gym where a lot of athletes will go and do like zone 2, some bodybuilding and stuff like that too. So it's a really cool thing. It's a really cool gym. I really highly recommend if you're in Oslo to drop in. Great coaches, great staff. I think Tola's there right now training for the games. So, and so. But that's what's going on there. I figured we should at least talk about that, in light of what Guy's announcement. So thanks, Rambler, for that. If you want more information, go to Barbell Spin. I think he has an article where he actually translates the whole story out of Portuguese. So, all right, Cait, you got anything?
Do you want to talk about the next workout?
Oh, yeah, 24.3. All right. The rumors. So the rumors are that the next workout is going to be something that involves rowing, deadlifts, possibly wall walks, possibly a chipper, maybe something a little bit longer domain. That's what I've heard. But I don't know rep schemes. I really don't. But that's what the word is out there. Dave, on his weekend review last night, wouldn't say yes or no if it's been leaked. He did address the 25.2 leaks as well as the 25.1 leaks, but overall it seems like there's a lot of leaking. What do you have to say about that? I mean, at this point, it seems like why even keep it a secret?
I mean, yeah, it seems like every year there is at least one, but it seems like this year everyone has known almost every workout, or has speculated some of it at least. So I think this year is especially bad. It is interesting that nobody has actually like leaked the actual workout yet for this week. There's just a lot of speculation on movements, but like no rep schemes that I've seen at least. Um, but it does kind of seem like what's the point? You might as well just let everybody know. And I heard it somewhere that it isn't fair if some camps or some athletes know and others don't. So if it gets leaked, you might as well just let everybody know so they all start on the same playing field. That's kind of where I stand, but it seems like there's a lot of leaking for sure.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing. I've seen the proposed workouts. I've seen two versions of the proposed workout actually. I don't believe either one of them. I think what David will just end up doing is he'll change the rep scheme
He said
anyways.
he's not going to. He said in his weekend review it was going to stay, but
We shall see. We shall see. I mean,
over another
Dave's also been known. He could probably say that no, that was the original workout the whole time. What you saw were he can always twist it. You forget this guy. The guy's a Navy SEAL. He's trained on how to manipulate people in their mind.
That's fair.
I think the reason why people haven't really put out what the workout is twofold. One, they don't want to be known as that person that put it out, and it was wrong. And two, they also don't want to deal with the repercussions because CrossFit has been known to kind of hammer hard or like excommunicate those type of people.
Mhm.
Hiller did it last year but now obviously he's I believe he's in CrossFit's good graces now, but I thought what he did last year too was right, where there were certain camps that knew the workout and they were practicing them, and he found out about those camps doing it. So what he did is he just released them all. It
Yep.
was the fair thing to do. Whether those camps, how those camps get it. It's just hard. It's hard when you have that many people involved in the process. It's hard to keep that stuff secret.
Yep.
It really is, especially when you have, especially like when it came to semifinal workouts, when they were programming semifinal workouts. These are entities that aren't related to CrossFit. They don't have really a say to CrossFit, and you have multiple people with it. I mean,
Yep.
you know, it's just about who you trust, and I just feel like, yeah, I just feel like there's a lot of people out there who wants to be. They want to be the person that knows it all, and they want people to know that they know it all. So they'll say something, you know, to try to gain favor or whatever. I don't believe in that. I really don't care because I don't know. Me, I'm that guy who believes in fairness, unfortunately, and get called out for it. So, but oh well. But like Lynn says, it's just the same that then in Open 24, Open 25 is just different number of reps. I get. That's what you're saying. The workout.
Yeah, deadlifts and rowing.
Yeah.
It does seem very similar if that's the case. So like you said, a lack of creativity, maybe. I don't know. I hate to say that, but if that is true, it does seem very similar to last year. Very similar, just a little bit mixed up. But I think that was what, a 15 or 20-minute AMRAP last year.
Yeah. I mean, if it's a chipper, chippers are usually anywhere from 10 to 12 minutes. So, if you're going to put rowing in there, you're going to have at least a decent distance on. You're not going to throw someone on a rower for like 100 meters or 200 meters. So, if it's a chipper and let's say that's a row at the front and back end, you probably think it's either 500 or 1,000 meters. So you're talking at least, if it's 500 on each end, so you're at least talking at least roughly 4 minutes to 3 minutes on the rower. But if it's a 1K, then you're looking at 6 minutes. So now you throw in some of those other movements. Wall walks, obviously, wall walks isn't a really fast movement, at least for some people. I don't know. I'm slow at wall walks, but I can only do like 2 consecutive wall walks before I'm doing regular knee push-ups, and or handstands or handstand push-ups from a box. That's my thing. That's my jam.
Ugh, I would be very happy to not see handstand push-ups.
Yeah.
If it is, what?
What about wall walks?
I don't love them, but I'm getting better at them. I've been doing a lot of them. But I also have a bum shoulder, so sometimes it hurts my shoulder. But it's not like the worst thing that I could see. Handstand push-ups would be worse for me. But I really like to row, and I can snatch. I hate deadlifts, but I can do them.
Yeah, this is what I started this earlier. Lynn brought it up. So it's going to be thrusters and muscle up. There's always burpees and a weight. Next is a rower and a wall ball. I know you would love a wall ball and a rower.
Sign me up. I did a workout very similar to that yesterday, and I really liked it. So if I saw something like that again, I would be happy.
I would love to see you and like Mirjam side by side doing wall balls. And who would do it faster?
For those who don't know, I'm 5'11", so I'm much taller than her.
I swear, the way she does wall balls, it's just like it's so wow, it's so unfair. I forgot what competition was that? Was it the backyard brawl or which one was it? The one they do in Uncharted.
Oh, backyard bout.
Yeah, backyard bout. When that final workout, that I think it was 4 different movements. You had to put a different person on 4 things. And granted, that team you had on had a games athlete on it.
Yeah, she hurt her back on like the second workout.
Yeah,
she barely.
And you, yeah, and you got stuck with wall balls, and I was completely amazed by that.
I'll never forget that. That was horrible. Horrible.
What? You look like you're
broken wall balls at 20 pounds.
Yeah, but it was like nothing for you.
Yeah, I think I did 63, and I was hurting for sure.
Yeah, I do remember afterwards that picture I have of you and Katie sitting on that box, and you just look like you just got hit by a train.
I couldn't walk. My legs were blown up. Yeah, that was not good. I would love to see them if we could put wall balls in there. That'd be cool.
Yeah. But I also think again rowing would be good for you, and obviously deadlifts with those long arms of yours.
Yeah, I don't love it, but
depending on how your back's feeling.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah,
maybe this week. So.
Yeah. So, are you doing Friday Night Lights then, or your new gym?
Yeah. So we haven't done like an actual Friday Night Lights. It's just been normal class because we're actually getting ready to move locations. So this last one, they've been open, I think 11 years. This is going to be the last Friday Night Lights this Friday. We're actually going to have a Friday Night Lights to kind of celebrate the ending, and then we'll move next month to a new location.
All right. So shout out your new gym. Give them a shout out.
CrossFit. We're in West Palm Beach.
West Palm Beach. Ooh, fancy.
West Palm Beach. It's been around for a long time. Really cool people there.
Yeah, 10-year affiliate, so that's awesome.
Yep. Yeah.
You said it's kind of a smaller community?
Smaller community than what I was at before, but that's where I started. You know where I started before. Going back to my roots a little bit, less aggressive and competitive, but like I kind of needed something like that. So just hanging with people and who want to get more fit and trying to be healthy, and it's really fun.
Cool. Well, shout out if you're in the West Palm Beach area. Slide into Cait's DMs.
Yeah, come visit me.
Come visit. She's a really good host, and she'll probably tell you where the best margaritas are. Too.
I got you on the margaritas for sure.
My girl does know where the best margaritas. Speaking, before we go, we gotta send a shout out to our Cougars.
Yes.
So those that don't know, SIUE, Al. I really don't notice. I really can't tell a story about how we actually first met. But anyways, you are a graduate at SIUE. I worked at SIUE as a photographer. We've met a couple of times, like when I got off work, getting drinks, stuff like that. But our Cougars, for the first time, they've only been Division I for 12 years. They jumped up to D1, and they're a basketball school. They're known for basketball, even though their basketball teams haven't been really good since they jumped up to D1. But they're done really good in women's soccer, men's soccer, and softball. But they made the NCAA tournament, March Madness, and it was really cool. It was like 5:00 a.m. in here in Germany. Hope it's close. Yeah, so it stands for Southern Illinois University at Ebersville. It's about 20 minutes right outside of St. Louis on the Illinois side of the Mississippi. It's a beautiful campus. I believe it's like top 5 in terms of largest universities based on acreage.
Yes.
It owns a lot of land there. It's known as a more of a, I guess, a pre-med educational school. Would that sound about right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Not
So,
what but yeah.
yeah, obviously, yeah, pre-med, that's you. Really good history of athletics, especially at the Division II, which is like the second level, highest level of collegiate sports. Made the jump up. They have an enrollment probably around, I'd have to say about 20,000, but a lot of it's commuter. A lot of them are from the area. A lot of people come from St. Louis. A lot of people live in St. Louis and commute like I do. Um, um, yeah, it's just really cool because I've known that basketball coach has been there 5 years, Brian, they got a new AD 2 years ago, and he had this vision of just trying new things. He's a younger guy, came from a school with a lot of success, and wanted to try new things and bring the community in. He realized the basketball arena probably holds like 4,000, but it never is going to hold 4,000. So what he did is he cut out some of the seats to make it more fan friendly. He put like a bar or like a little area where people can hang out at, kind of more open space, kind of overlooking the floor. Just a lot of innovative ideas, and it paid off. Where the team, unfortunately, the team they played, SEMO, Southeast Missouri State, was a school that I used to work for, and the head coach is my old college roommate and a really good friend of mine too. So that's who they played in the championship game. They upset the number 1 seed. That's who SEMO was, and now they're going dancing. So I'm really proud of it because that was 5 years of work to get to this place now, and it's just really cool to see. I'm really happy for those kids on that team. There's one team on there. He's from Collinsville. Had many chances to leave, to go to another school, play at bigger schools, but he decided to stick it out. And this is his last year. He came back for his last year. He was granted a 5th year, and he was paid off with this. And it's just really cool to see stuff like that. And I'm happy for your. They're not my alma mater. They're your alma mater.
Yep.
But just really pumped up for them. So shout out to SIUE, Cougars, athletic department, Joe Pott, the whole sports information crew out there, and the whole staff there. It was well deserved, university and the community. So
yep, agreed.
Yeah, I don't know. Your favorite SIUE memory? Did you go to many sporting events? No, didn't think so.
No, unfortunately.
You're a sorority girl, so you only went to the games you had to.
Because they don't have football. I think just like intramural. So soccer games. It was our thing. We'd go.
Homecoming, yeah. Homecoming was a men's soccer game. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you danced though?
Not there.
Oh, you didn't dance there? Oh.
No, I stopped. My roommate though, she was on the team her freshman year. But I did not once I got there.
Oh. I thought there was a step team club that you're a part of.
That was in my sorority. Yes, I was the step team captain. And
there you go.
The step team all 3 years that I was there. So that was fun. But no, not on the actual dance team.
That's what I meant. Sorry, step and dancing are 2 different things. Same thing. Same but different. Well, thanks, Cait. I appreciate it. You want to do this again next week? 25.3?
Let's do it.
Yep. All right. If you haven't, make sure like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let us know what you want us to talk about next week. Obviously, besides 25.3, I'd like to kind of maybe make this a regular thing with Cait. Maybe bring in and talk about some of the stuff going on in CrossFit. Obviously, there's there's the Community Cup. There's the online semifinals. Before you know it, some of the semifinals will be starting. So we got a lot of things coming up. It's that time of the year. WFP is coming up too. So there's a lot of things going on. Appreciate it. We're also going to try to get some more guests on too. Athletes already. It's that weird part in the season where a lot of athletes are concentrating on the season, so they're less reluctant to come on. So might have to change these to Thursdays because Thursdays are typically off days for some athletes. So might be able to get more of them on then. Again, send a shout out to everyone in the comments. Lynn, T-Bird, Rambler, thanks for jumping in and telling us what's going on. Lupe, Lido, thanks Lido for joining. Glad you're part of the crew. God, the list goes on and on. Sarah Cooper, Ironically Fit, everyone, thanks for joining us. Thank you to HCR CBD for, again, sponsoring us. If you need CBD, need anything to cure your soreness from the Open, give HCR CBD a look. Use friend20 at checkout, get 20% off. And I think that's it. What? Haha, you spent all day. If you're shouting at all of us, haha. Thanks, BC and Cait. Thank you, Lynn.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys. See you guys next week. I don't think we have a show this week. I don't have to check Brian. Maybe a show, but yeah. If not, me and Cait will see you guys next week, next Tuesday. So until then, be friendly, our friends.